Hey everyone. So it's been a little over a week since the Tower of Fantasy Global release, and I've been playing this game non-stop. I've been having a lot of fun. There's quite an overwhelming number of things that you need to understand as a new player, so I thought that I'll just put together this video and I'll explain everything: how combat effectiveness works, what dailies you should be doing, where you should be spending your vitality points, and where you should be spending your resources in order to make sure that you don't put it in the wrong place and suffer. So let's start off by discussing how I got the CS that I have right now. So as you can see, I have 12,694 CS. This is basically a number that represents your overall power, the overall strength of your character, and there is a number of ways you can increase your combat effectiveness. The most significant part of your gear are your weapons. So this is very important. You need to level up your weapons in order to get your CS to grow. Your weapons are by far the most important piece of gear that you have. Apart from your weapon, you also have matrices. If you're coming from Genshin Impact, these are very similar to artifacts. And apart from matrices, you also have equipment, which is a bunch of armors, and then there's a bunch of different ways you can upgrade these armors to increase your combat effectiveness. So before I start explaining what to upgrade first, let's quickly summarize how you can increase your combat score. So number one priority is your weapons. Number two, I would say, is your matrices. And then I would focus on your gear. There's a few things to remember, which I'll come to later. So in order to upgrade your weapons, you need materials that you will be getting from your dailies. I'll explain that later. And in order to have a balanced weapon set, you should have at least one weapon that is good at shattering shields. Because as a new player, as you go and fight different monsters, you'll realize that a lot of them have shields. Actually, most of them have shields. And as long as you don't shatter a target's shields, it takes 50% less damage. So it is important to have at least one weapon that is good at shattering, and one weapon can be your main DPS. Basically, you need to balance out these two stats: shatter and charge. Charge means it basically represents how fast you're gonna charge your ultimate abilities, which are very powerful. Shatter basically represents how good the weapon is at shattering shields. So the higher the number, the better it is at shattering shields. So as you can see, I'm using Scythe of the Crow as my shattering weapon. It has a 12.5 score for shatter, so it's really good at shattering. For the bow, this is my main DPS weapon. It provides a good recharge rate. And my third weapon, I would say this is a filler. You could have a second offensive weapon, or you could have a healer like me. That's about it for balancing out your weapons. We'll come to the leveling part in the next segment, where I explain what dailies you should be doing in order to get weapon materials. So weapon should be prioritized first. The second thing I would prioritize are the matrices. However, there's a catch. So when you start off as a new player, you will have green matrices and blue matrices. I would not bother spending materials on leveling them up. Although even if you level them up, it's not the end of the world, because even when you get better matrices, you can feed the older ones to your new ones. And I believe there's minimal XP loss, so it shouldn't be that bad. Leveling up those matrices is not going to be a problem, but farming is where you need to be careful, and I'll come to that in the next segment as well. The third thing is your equipment. Now, this is a bit tricky, because if you just click on any equipment and you go to enhance, you'll see this enhance button, and what this does is that it enhances the equipment slot, not the equipment itself. Now, I've seen a lot of people making mistakes here. You can go ahead and improve your slots. It doesn't matter, because when you switch to a higher grade armor, you can simply transfer over that slot level to the new armor. But what you shouldn't be doing is advancing this gear, because as you can see, this is a blue piece. Now you have gray pieces, which are do I even have a gray piece? Yeah, so these are like the most basic versions of of your gear. Then you have the green pieces, then you have the blue ones. I wouldn't bother leveling them up at all. I would wait till I'm level 40 and up, and I actually start getting pink pieces, which I believe is the elite pieces, and then I would bother advancing those pieces. You can still, of course, go ahead and enhance the equipment slots. Enhancing equipment slots increases your stats, subsequently increasing your combat effectiveness or CS. Similarly, when you advance equipment, it also gives you more stats. So yeah, you get the idea. As far as your combat effectiveness or your CS score goes, that's about it. This is how you increase your CS. Now let's come to the next part, where I am going to explain how you can effectively spend your resources and get resources as efficiently as you can every day. And that all comes down to doing your dailies and spending your vitality. So if you look at the two swords icon on the top right of your screen, this will take you to a window that will show you all the dailies that are available for you every day. Now, I will start off by going to the recommended tab. Signing in gives you rewards. Mia's kitchen is very important and it's very easy, takes no time. You just go to Mia, she gives you some eatable, you eat it and you get a lot of XP and a few buffs from it. It's very important. Ruins are very important because each ruin gives you a one-time reward, which can be in the form of upgrading materials for your suppressor, which I'll come to later. Suppressor is also another piece of gear that slightly improves your CS and can be upgraded using materials that you get from the ruins. So I would definitely do these ruins. You can do ruins at 3 difficulties, and at each difficulty you can claim the reward once. And once you've cleared all the ruins, you should be able to upgrade a lot of your stuff. Apart from the ruins, you have your daily bounties. These are very important because you don't need to spend any vitality, and this is just free items for you every day. So I would definitely make sure that I finish my daily bounties every single day. Then we come down to spending your vitality. So the number that you see on the top right corner, guys, this is the vitality. If you're coming from Genshin Impact, this is very similar to Resin, and certain instances will require you to spend a certain amount of vitality in order to get the rewards. Now, one very important thing over here is that if you're a new player, I would avoid joint operation until I am at least level 40 and above, I believe, because before this you're gonna get matrices that are either green or blue, and like I already explained, spending vitality on those is basically wasting your vitality, because those matrices will get replaced very quickly, and I would not recommend spending vitality on joint operation. The best way by far, the most efficient way to spend your vitality is by doing interstellar exploration. Now, if you go to interstellar operation, you will see stargates. Each stargate can have a rarity starting from 1 star to 3 star. The more rare the stargate, the better the loot. And I would recommend you spend all your vitality points in doing stargates, because these stargates will give you weapon batteries and materials that you will require to upgrade your weapons. So these materials are very important, because as you level up your weapon, not only does it affect your combat score the most, it also upgrades your skill levels. The amount of materials that you need to upgrade are going to increase as you level up, and you will find it harder and harder to upgrade your weapon. So if you do these interstellar gates every single day, spend all your vitality, it will be very easy for you to upgrade all of your weapons and efficiently have a good combat score by the time you reach level 40 and above. Speaking of weapons, there is one very important thing that I would like to mention. Now, I know as a new player, you'd be very excited to upgrade your weapons, and you might you know, you might get an SR weapon and go ham upgrading it. However, I would recommend not doing that because getting weapon material is not that easy, and you'll realize that as you upgrade your weapons, the upgrading cost goes up and up. And at the end of the day, if you look into the future, you will really not be using SR weapons in the end. You will have SR weapons and you will get them eventually pretty fast. I got these weapons without spending any money in the game, simply because the gacha system is quite forgiving, and you have your first pity at 30 pulls, and then you have another pity at 80 pulls, which does not reset even if you get an SR weapon before that. So you will be getting a bunch of SR weapons eventually, and I would not recommend spending any materials on upgrading SR weapons. I would simply focus on SR weapons, and I would focus on the fundamentals, that is, to have at least one shattering weapon and one DPS weapon. Third one is up to you. And yeah, that's about it. When you're 40 and above, you can start doing joint operations, get your pink matrices, level them up, because elite level matrices and gear is what you should at least aim for before spending your materials on them. Besides this, you have a bunch of challenges which are basically free rewards. So you have the Apex League, which is PvP. The good thing about this is that it is balanced. Even if you're not into PvP, I would recommend you do them, because if you just enter this PvP rank ladder, I believe you will get some reward, if not a lot of rewards. So better do them than not. Then you have the Bygone Phantasm, which is basically kind of like a tower in which you have several rooms and you keep climbing. You defeat waves of monsters on each room. The difficulty ramps up and you climb the ladder, and at the end your rank is determined, and depending on what rank you have, you are going to have a different reward. So as you can see, these are the rewards, and if you look at it, even if you just enter the ladder, the amount of rewards is astonishingly high, and I would definitely get these. As you can see, booster modules are used to upgrade your equipment slots and are very important, so I would definitely not miss out on these. Lastly, you have the training sessions. These, I believe you have 2 training sessions every day, and I would definitely go do them, because you get training points, which is a currency, and you can spend that for more rewards. So in Tower of Fantasy, you'll see that you have a number of different currencies that you can spend in order to get different rewards. And to see all the rewards, you can just go to escape, go to commissary, and you can see a number of different stores on the left hand side. Each of these stores has a different kind of currency that can be used and exchanged for weapons, armors, all that good stuff. Apart from that, so this is like the meat and potatoes that I've just explained in order to get your combat score up and do your dailies, get resources as efficiently as you can, spend them as efficiently as you can. It just takes a bit of time understanding these things, but if you actually implement them, you will realize that as an F2P player, you can do much more than you think. I've been doing this for a little over a week, and I have almost 13k combat score. My gear is still not elite. I have one piece. I got lucky with it in an instance. Besides that, yeah, so that's about it for getting materials, spending materials, doing all the dailies. Frontier Clash and Void Rifts are also instances. These don't cost you any vitality, I believe, but you can do them a limited number of times, but I would definitely do them when they're available. I would also advise you guys to join a guild, because when you join a guild, you can get basically merit, which is also a currency, and you just do a bunch of daily quests, daily donations in your faction, and you get this as a reward, and it piles up over time. Apart from that, that's about it for this guide, guys. I hope it helped you. If you have any questions, just let me know. I hope you have fun in Tower of Fantasy, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.